I now will give the floor to Alan Dean. Alan Dean is Managing Director of Burning to Learn. I think while we all recognize the advent of digital technologies upon us, Alan is taking care that we don't lose humanity, and his concern is to allow people to restore the sense of worth. I don't know if he heard me, but that is probably the essence of his presentation. You have the floor, Alan.
Thank you very much. Oh, let's get this going. Oh, go. Where's my little box? There she is. Right. First of all, folks, what I'd like to say, having trouble with my thinking process. Right. My name is there. I am your official gatecrasher. I'm not a professor. I'm out of my depth standing up here in front of you all. But to just say thank you for the opportunity. Burning to Learn was started over 25 years ago. And basically the aim was to link with young people that didn't enjoy education. And the idea was to actually pull them in. And what we actually did was co-created their education. We listened to the school and we spun it around so the youngster felt they controlled the direction. We took away the fear. We all know that's the problem in education, isn't it? If you don't understand it, you get really, really nervous. So they had the ownership. We've taken away the fear. Understanding their values, their culture, that was key to finding out what way they wanted to go. And that then sparked their interest. Basically, we called it education by stealth. They didn't realise the education was getting and they weren't fighting. It was that successful we were asked to move from special needs across to comps, across to grammar school, onto colleges, onto universities. And the interesting thing we found at the coalface was once a young person felt valued, they worked harder. When you went to the top academic level, they questioned. In my humble opinion, I feel some of them lost their vision because they actually stuck to getting a grade. The grade became the key, and they lost their purpose. Once they saw their purpose, it fired them up and away they went. So, if we just move on. My question is, are we willing to change? We're all talking about it, but are we genuinely willing to change? Autonomous vehicles. It knows where it's going, but do we know where we're going? What should education be teaching a 10-year-old? That's my question, because this change is so fast, I'm frightened we're going to miss some things. There's a tsunami of change coming, and we've got to teach young people to ride that tsunami. It's key. As far as I'm concerned, we are in a really difficult place. So if we go forward, do we know what the future is? I don't think we do. So how can we educate someone for something that we don't know? I took off 5 years ago. I stepped back from working in the classroom and started doing research, talking to educators around the world. Canada, America, Australia, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Spain, Denmark, Holland, and listen to the questions that they were coming up with. How do we hook these young people? And for me, when the SDGs came out, that was the answer. I saw the SDGs as where all the jobs are going to come from. If you look at the 17 points and you had an interest, go after that interest, because they're the problems that need to be solved. But we've got to find a way of actually making our youngsters feel valued. So there she lies. That's my vision. I want to create a heart of passion. and a drive. And I think the vehicle is e-learning. And I think the power comes from sustainability, without a shadow of a doubt. And from that, I look at the donut and circular economy as the first small steps. They're not the answer. The SDGs are not the answer. They're frameworks to use. So we've got to start looking at e-learning as a way that we can actually package and move it. But we need to move it for you, for you. We're all going in different directions, but we need to harness each other's skills in that direction. If I want to go to Geneva, I speak to you, we go to Geneva. You know, some very nice restaurants. But we've got to find out where we're going to go. So as I look at it, we've got to look at the SDGs as the base. This is where we're going to travel. This is what it's all about. But we've got to turn to governance as the driver. If they align everything, we will go faster. But if they stay in silo thinking, they will just stagnate because they're frightened of change. We're all frightened of change, that's why we don't do it. Stay awake at the back. So I think we all need individuals, communities to take this load. It's essential. So moving on a personal note, I've taken it into education. So I've gone into my district, which is Sevenoaks district, and I'm looking at a town called Swanley. 16,000 people. How can we get the SDGs into their mindset? So I've gone along to the local council. I'm sitting on a neighbourhood plan, which is hopefully going to frame the way that town should go forward. But we have to do it with the people. If you don't bring the people to the table, we can't work this out. So what we've gone along, and anyone heard of Tigron? It's software platform for modelling, SimCity for real, taking the data and creating your city. Well, I'm trying to do that in the schools where they're actually getting the youngsters designing their town and how it hooks into the global goals. I keep going back to it because I think it's key. Clara, as we've mentioned, integral framework is all there to evaluate where we're going. I've sat here today and I've seen so many little cogs have turned in my head that I think it's a powerful movement, but we do need to start talking about where we're going, not about the problem. We've got to find the answer, where it all goes. So my last little slide points out, talk to me. Are we willing to change? And if not, when? Thank you.
So please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.